Giverny. The next day I planned a trip to a small town near Paris. After 2 days of exploring the big cities, this was exactly what I needed. It was famous for being the home of great artist Claude Monet. So we left the house with our suitcases and took the metro to the city center. We spent a long time searching for luggage storage. Eventually we asked people at the nearby place and they directed us to a cafe next door. The owner took our suitcases and we headed to the train station. In Europe, high-speed trains connect major cities. We reached the station. Giverny was about an hour and a half train ride from Paris. We bought tickets for the next available departure, €18 per ticket, and waited. Everyone else was off doing their own things around the station. Once we all regrouped, we ran to the train and boarded just in time. I put on my headphones, opened my book, and completely lost myself in the atmosphere of the journey. Outside the window, small towns flashed by, changing into beautiful countryside landscapes. I enjoyed reading Jane Eyre, occasionally looking up to admire the beauty of the trees, lakes, and charming houses. We arrived at the stop in the town of Vernon. All the bloggers I watched had taken the same road, from Paris to Vernon, then by bus to Giverny. That was also my plan, and I remembered that one girl from a vlog had reached Giverny by renting a bicycle. I asked some strangers where to rent a bike and they pointed me to a cafe near the stop. Outside the cafe, bicycles were parked on racks. Dad went inside and paid for everyone's bike rentals, and so the adventure began. During our trip, Europe treated us with rain almost every day, and today was no exception. Just as we got on the bikes, it started raining immediately, so we left them and ran back into a cafe. The rain stopped quickly, but the bikes were wet, and a sweet old man, probably local at the cafe, started carefully wiping down the bikes. After that, we put our bags in the bike baskets and rode off. For that day, I wore my creamy dress with a pretty corset on top. We followed the map, which told us we'd get there in 30 minutes, and mapped out the road. At first, we rode through the streets of Vernon. Looking around, I noticed the small town charm. Following the road, we left that small town and crossed the bridge. That's where the true beauty of the journey began. We rode along a path with an incredibly charming green field on one side that made me feel like I was in a 19th century village. It gave a fairy tale-like feeling. On the other side, the path was bordered by the river Seine. We rode like this about 20 minutes, and that's when I really felt the road. I forgot everything else and fully enjoyed the moment. If you ever plan to visit Giverny, I highly recommend getting there by bike. We finally reached Claude Monet's house in Giverny. The property seemed small at first. The double-story cottage wasn't very big, but it wasn't tiny either. We took many pictures in front of the house with my pretty outfit, which perfectly matched with the green and pink aesthetic. In front of the house, there was a small garden full of different types of flowers. We walked through the garden. It was absolutely lovely. We stepped into the house and found ourselves in the living room, its walls covered in framed paintings. A staircase led us to the second floor where we entered one of the bedrooms. Every room felt warm and delightful, but one room especially caught my eye, with large windows opening to a stunning view of the garden. Then we went down another old staircase and found ourselves in the kitchen, and we stepped back into the garden. I was wondering, where is the famous pond I came here to see? It turned out that to get there we had to pass through an underground tunnel located at the end of the garden. How happy the artist must have been owning such a huge park. There were enchanting trees, a fascinating park, and a pond with gorgeous water lilies. We took many wonderful pictures. Taking one final look around, we left the place. After that, we decided to return by a different road. We chose to go through the town itself. Riding along the streets, I was enchanted by the stunning old stone houses. Then we saw a green field and I decided to stop to feel the moment. Oh, how I wished I could stay longer reading and enjoying the setting sun. I want to fill my days with this kind of solitude in nature, away from everyone, when no one disturbs me, without worries, feeling calm and happy. Then we continued on. As we left the town behind, we rode along the river listening to a delightful French song. It was so much fun cycling with such a beautiful view. We made our way back to Paris. Then we went to pick up our suitcases. We sat for a while in a bar where we had left luggage. By that time it was dark and we had to get to a house near the airport at the edge of the city, since our flight was early the next morning. We reached the house late at night, had dinner, took a shower and went to bed. We got only a few hours of sleep, since the flight was at 6 a.m. and woke up at 3 a.m. That's when the most interesting part happened. About an hour and a half passed while we got ready. I opened the airline app to check the ticket and can you believe it? We had stayed in a house near the wrong airport. Paris has 3 airports and I thought I had booked near the correct one, but it turned out I got it wrong. I started panicking, thinking we'd miss our flight since the correct airport was on the other side of the city. But we quickly decided to take a taxi and hope for the best. We ran out of the taxi with only 40 minutes left until the flight. We missed the check-in, but a kind airport employee gently scolded us for being late and allowed us to check in anyway. Exhausted, finally we could breathe and by 8 a.m. we landed in Nice. Antibes. We arrived at our hotel, which was located somewhere in between Nice and Antibes. After checking in, we went to eat. Then we rested for a while and headed to Antibes. It's a resort town on the French Riviera, like Nice and other towns in South France. On the way, we stopped at a local supermarket. It was charming to watch locals' daily lives from behind the scene. We bought croissants and some rolls. We got on the bus and arrived in Antibes. The famous Billionaire's Bay Beach was about 5 kilometers and we started walking along the coastline. Along the way, I saw beautiful houses with colorful windows. The road brought us to a small park-like zone located near coast. We stood on a tiny field. On the left, the path continued toward the beach. We continued following the coast, taking pictures of ourselves. The view around was the waves hitting the rocks, sparkling in the sunlight. The beach lay across the whole town, as the city was surrounded by the sea. But we were heading specifically to the Billionaire's Beach. Then we turned into little streets filled with stunning houses. One building especially caught my attention. Its walls fully covered in plants. The streets eventually brought us back to the coastline and we decided to stay here instead of going to the plant beach, because it was far away and we wouldn't have time to return. Ahead of us was rocky cliffs and stone path. These cliffs actually serve as a beach for people who come here to swim or sunbathe. coming down the cliffs, we found a spot where we could sit and had some croissants while enjoying the view. Time passed and we had to head back. On the way back, we stopped for a dinner at a small cafe and had some pizza. Walking through the town, I noticed how quiet it was, as if no one lived there. In Paris, the background noise reminded you of people, but this town felt empty. After we got on the bus and returned to the hotel, we decided to film a bit on the evening beach. It was almost dark when we got off the bus. When we reached the beach, there was no one. We filmed funny videos and the beach was only 6-7 minutes from the hotel, which made me feel like I had my own private beach nearby. I decided to come back here tomorrow morning. Nice. Early in the morning, I got ready, grabbed my book and camera and headed to the beach. I easily reached it and as I expected, the beach was empty. I was looking at the sea, how its waters was rolling onto the shore. And it felt as if this place belonged to me, since no one was there. I wasn't thinking about anything, nothing was troubling my mind. I forced myself to be in the present and feel the moment. I was taking a breath in and breathe out. And admired the endless horizon. I slowly strolled along the water and my heart filled with peace. Later, I settled down and read my book. Finally, I could read in peace, enjoying the view and sounds of waves.
Sea.
Yeah. Full of its sea creatures and deep oceans.
After a while, I returned to the hotel, feeling joyful from the morning I had spent. We packed up and left the hotel. At the bus station, we met an elderly couple and started chatting, and it turned out to be they were heading to Nice too. They were such a sweet couple. Sitting in the bus, I was thinking about that I finally enjoyed the slow life, spending the day in this quiet town away from the big cities. Here, I observed the locals, exchanged a few words with them, strolled around the streets, had lunch at a small cafe, and visited the nearby beach. Watching their everyday life made me desire to be part of it, to feel at home among the locals. With these thoughts, I got off the bus and we reached the center of Nice on the taxi, the main square known for its colorful buildings. We wandered there looking for souvenirs. Eventually, we returned to the square, ready to head to the airport. We arrived at the airport to travel to Milan by intercity bus that was departing at 4 p.m. The seats was quite comfortable, which made the 5-hour trip much more pleasant. First, we traveled through the mountains of the French Riviera, then we crossed the border into the Italian Riviera. We passed through Italian mountain towns as well as coastal towns. I managed to get a little sleep on the way. It was already dark when we arrived. Panic hit me because the host we were supposed to stay at wasn't replying my messages. I was worried but hoped that it would work out when we got there. When we arrived at the booked place, we couldn't find it among the many apartments and houses. The host still didn't respond and left no instructions. Unlike my previous experiences with a self-check-in or an administrator, this time I had no pictures of the house, no key, no guidance, and I had already paid the full amount. I was deceived by the host and we were left outside. We had to look for a hotel. It was already past midnight as we wandered the streets with our suitcases, searching for a place to stay. Looking back now, it seems almost funny, but at the moment I felt guilty for trusting a stranger and not checking the reliability of the accommodation. Thankfully, no one blamed me, and we tried to find a solution together. The main thing is to never give up, no matter what. Finally, we managed to find a place to stay. The host was extremely polite and kind. Milan. I woke up in the morning feeling peaceful. The view from the window was beautiful. After packing up, we left the hotel at 11 and headed to the metro station. Along the streets we passed many cafes and entered one of them. I saw a variety of pastries and we had some pizza for a late breakfast. After that we got onto the metro to the Duomo. Seeing the famous Duomo in real life left me in awe. It was massive and there were so many people as if the whole city had come to see it. And sure, I couldn't miss doing a little dance with my sister. We played this song and danced in front of the cathedral as if nobody was watching. We continued on to the gallery right beside the Duomo. After we went on to the Sforza Castle. The castle was surrounded by 4 corner towers and had 4 gates. We entered through the main one, which led us into the inner country yard. Inside it felt like a park. After looking around the inside, we stepped outside. Moss and ivy had climbed up the walls. We found a spot on the grass and enjoyed some ice cream. After finishing, we made our way to the fast tram station as our next destination was Lake Como. It takes only an hour and a half from Milan. We arrived by the shore of Lake Como. I had booked accommodation in Menaggio, so we still had to take a bus to get there. You could get to the town by crossing the lake on a boat which served as a local transport running between towns. But at the time no boats were in service, so we headed to the bus stop instead. We were waiting for the bus and exploring the surroundings, we discovered a daisy field. An entire hillside covered in daisies and green grass. It was breathtaking. We sat there for a while enjoying the view, and when the bus arrived, we headed to Menaggio. After an hour and a half, we got off at our stop and headed to our place following the map. It was getting dark, but I was enchanted as I looked around. Finally, we reached the destination. It was a 2-story cottage that felt like a cozy Italian villa. Inside, the manager welcomed us kindly. She confirmed my booking, handed me the keys of our room and mentioned a restaurant just 5 minutes down the road. She also told us that breakfast was included and that the next morning we could come downstairs to the dining room. It was a pleasant surprise for me. It was 8 in the evening when we checked in. After unpacking and resting a little, by 9 o'clock we decided to go for dinner. The hostess gave us a map explaining that we just needed to follow the road. She was a charming young woman with bright hair, polite but professional, speaking only to the point. We left the house following her instructions and ended up at the cafe. The place was crowded, but we found free table on the terrace. Settling, enjoyed some pizza. Then we returned home. It was a wonderful evening. I liked it. You could definitely feel that Italian vibe of dolce far niente.
It means the sweetness of doing nothing.